Oh, wow. I'm so excited. We're finally moving in together. We've been together for 3 years now.
It's crazy. How can we be together so long? And I never even stayed the night at your house.
Yeah, I know. But unfortunately, I'm kind of a stickler for the rules.
Oh, okay. I mean, like everyone's got their own rules.
Right. Well, I've just been nervous about it. So, I mean, why don't we just go over it a little bit?
Okay.
So, you got to make sure that when you go to bed, you got to turn out all the lights.
Oh, yeah.
Or it's a night in the box.
Okay.
Dishwasher, make sure you load the dishwasher correctly, or that's a night in the box.
Oh, well, I mean, like, how do you like to load it? Because, like, different people like to load it differently.
We'll go over it, but if you don't load it correctly, it is a night in the box.
What is this box?
If you hang the toilet paper wrong, it's a night in the box. It's got a cascade over the front, okay? That's how it goes.
I mean, that's as it should be. But what is this box you're talking about?
Okay, well, I built a box in my backyard. It's 3 feet off the ground. You have a bowl out there for excrement. You have a bowl out there for urine. You can't eat in there. You got to wear a little gown.
What are you talking about?
No, it's just a joke. I don't actually have a box out there.
Oh, I was worried about our relationship.
Haven't you seen Cool Hand Luke?
No, what's that?
You haven't seen it.
No way. You're out of order.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Fasten your seatbelts.
You're tearing me apart.
Houston, we have a problem.
What we've got here is failure.
Conceivable. God damn you all to hell!
Hello and welcome to You Haven't Seen It? The podcast where I make my wife watch movies she doesn't care to see. Erin, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. Everybody, that's my wife. I am Joey.
Hi.
She is Erin.
What is this opening?
I don't know. Our openings are really awkward so far. We'll figure it out someday.
Yeah, so this is Joey. He's the host, and I'm Erin. I'm his wife. And we're going to be talking about a movie. What movie were we talking about today, Joey?
We are talking about Cool Hand Luke, the 1967 masterpiece starring Paul Newman, director Stuart Rosenberg.
Wait, hold on. Paul Newman, like the spaghetti sauce?
Yeah, Paul Newman, the spaghetti sauce guy. I didn't know that he was an actor.
Really?
Yeah, it's so weird. I mean,
I didn't know he's
really great in the spaghetti
spaghetti.
sauce. It's like he really made a name for himself. I heard he died maybe like 10 years ago, but
Aww.
God bless him. Love his sauce.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Just kidding, guys. I know who Paul Newman is.
I don't.
I'm a big Paul Newman fan. Other actors include George Kennedy and Harry Dean Stanton. He's credited just as Dean Stanton, and we've even got Dennis Hopper. A really interesting cast. This is a pretty old movie from 1967. I personally love it. I've seen it many times. My dad introduced me to it. This is one of his favorite movies. We don't share a lot of movies that we like, but this is definitely one of them. Have you heard anything about this movie before we watched it?
I had no clue about it. Never heard of it. When I first saw it, I was in the dark. But I did have a question actually about the actors.
Sure.
There was one actor. He was the guy that beat up Luke, the first part, and then and Luke didn't give up, and then he came back and was like, "Okay, he's cool."
Yeah,
he gave him the nickname. Was he the Cowardly Lion?
No, he was not the Cowardly
He
Lion.
looks a lot like the actor.
Yeah, he does. George Kennedy, I used to think that he was, what's that guy who was on SNL? He played Bob Odenkirk's brother in Better Call Saul. Man, I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, I used to think that they were the same dude. Michael McKean.
He was on SNL?
Yeah, he was on SNL for maybe like 2 seasons. It was a very weird time during SNL's history.
Oh, okay.
But he was on it. He's good. I like him.
Yeah.
So you hadn't heard anything about it?
I
ever.
had no clue about this movie at all, but I had fun watching it.
Oh, you enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know you really like movies that are very character driven.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
this is an extremely character driven movie because they are literally in a prison the whole time.
Yeah.
So all they have to do is really interact with each other.
This movie was I really enjoyed it because it also was very kind of it doesn't explain everything. So like I have to come up with all of the details surrounding everything. So like, why is he in prison? Like we know why he is in prison, but why did he make that choice to do the thing he did to get him into prison? And so it's more of a cerebral experience versus some other movies where it's just like, this is everything that's happened.
Yeah, they don't slap you in the face with who he is right at the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. You don't find out what his childhood's like until like halfway through.
Yeah.
You don't really know much of anything about him. And I've noticed this time around, Paul Newman, he's pretty quiet. He doesn't have a whole lot of lines.
He doesn't. He's a very quiet character.
Yeah. And all the other prisoners, you really find out what they did either.
Yeah. I don't know what most of them did.
No.
The only people you find out what they did was Luke, and then the people at the beginning, whenever they're going through like, this is what you did, this is what you did, this is what you did, when they first get to that. Is it a prison? I don't know what it is.
Yes, it is a prison, but it's like an old-timey prison, like chain gang type thing. Where did
they have other types of prisons that were like more like modern prisons?
Well, we drove past the Museum of Prison History the other day, and we didn't stop. Well, maybe we should have.
Maybe. That would have been smart.
No, I don't know. They don't even tell you when the movie takes place, which is another interesting.
Where?
It's in the South.
Yeah, we know that, but like where in the South?
Yeah, I mean, who cares? The South is the South. I lived there. It's nothing serious. But that's also another part that's kind of conspicuous. They have trucks, and they're working on roads.
Yeah.
So we know there's cars. It's not like... It's definitely not before World War II.
Oh, absolutely.
I think they even say... Did he serve in World War II?
Yes, he was in the military. I don't know about World War II, but maybe he was in World War One, because there were cars in World War One.
Yeah, but this is definitely after World War II.
Yeah, but they definitely said that he was in the military, and then like he was well respected in the military, and then he leaves, and now he.
Well, he was highly decorated, so that means that he won medals. But if you were in the World War II, and you went and you saw combat, or you were overseas, you would have gotten a bunch of medals no matter what, because it was a huge war. Like when I was in the Army, they just gave me medals for showing up.
Oh.
Because, yeah, like I got like overseas service ribbons and Army commendation medals, and like I just showed up.
Oh, okay. That's why my dad has all those medals.
Oh, putting your dad on blast. But anyway, they also mentioned that he went in, and the whole time he was in, he came out as a private again, which is the lowest rank. So he never moved up in rank.
Oh, I didn't notice. I didn't recall that.
Yeah. I think now less people really know about that kind of stuff. I think back in 1967, the general public knew like military rank. Mm-hmm. So what they were trying to develop, like do the character development is like he's not a driven person. Mm-hmm. He doesn't care about climbing the ranks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, which is pretty obvious.
Well, that kind of made like well, I guess it doesn't really change my thoughts about it, but it definitely puts it in perspective even more of like his choices in life. Mm-hmm. Because one of the choices that I noticed the most was like, why did he decide, oh, I'm going to cut down these meters? If I'm being honest, that sounds like the lamest reason to go to prison. Yes, I know you're defacing government property, but that is such a lame reason to go to this prison for how long are you supposed to be there? Like 6 months? 2 years. Oh, 2 years.
Yeah,
oh my God.
I think that's what he said.
Yeah. It was a short time, but also like 2 years is a long time.
Yeah. Well, what I think they were
It's
really
short for prison, I guess.
Yeah, it seems petty, and I think it was a really smart move on their part because who likes parking meters? Do you like
No
parking
one.
meters? They're awful. I hate them.
Yeah.
And he wasn't hurting like anybody normal, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it shows, one, he's got a problem with authority. Two, he doesn't have an issue with hurting other people. So it kind of makes him this weird anti-hero in a way.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, stick it to the man. Mm-hmm. And also he doesn't hurt people.
Yeah.
Right? So they tell you right away he's got a problem with authority.
Yeah, but I have a theory on why he did this, but we can talk about that.
No, I'd love to hear it.
Well, I want to talk about it a little bit later once we get into the movie a little bit more.
Okay.
But I definitely have a theory on why he would do that.
Okay. All right. So I guess the next most significant part of the movie is, at first he's kind of doing just fine in the prison camp. He makes it through the first day of work, which was really hard. Do you remember that part?
Yeah, and there was one guy that fainted on the first day. He was one of the new guys. And, okay, there's this box thing. Yeah. They put them in a box it's a disciplinary thing. This guy fainted, and they put him in the box. Why did they put him in the box if he fainted? Like, that seems like, I know that they don't care about them, really, but to put someone in the box because they fainted, that was not on he did not do it on purpose.
Yeah. Well, the whole point of this prison camp and these bosses is they're there to break your spirit.
Yeah.
This is not a time where they give a damn about rehabilitation. And as you could tell, the prison was not that hard to escape.
Yeah.
Right? So part of it was
Luke escaped 4 or 5 times, it seemed like. I think it was
spoiler
only 3.
alert. But that's one of the things I think they were setting up with that guy. And also this time around I was watching, I think he was bullshitting, which is why they really put him in there, because they stick him in the back of the truck, and then when they all load back on the truck, he looks fine. He just gets up and sits down.
No, I thought he climbed under the seat.
I don't remember. Also, we watched this movie a week ago, so
I'm pretty sure he because he laid in the truck the whole entire time, and then once it was over, he kind of rolled underneath the seat while other people could get in. But I don't remember him getting back up and sitting down. I don't recall that. He may have, but I just don't recall that.
Okay. All right. I mean, it could be, we could interpret it 2 different ways.
Yeah, but I just thought, I was like, that is such a bitch move to this guy just fainted and you're going to put him in a box that he has to poop and pee in. And it's super tight. It's like an outhouse, the size of an outhouse with no toilet in there. They have to sleep standing up. That is just ugh.
Oh, just squat down. Come on, we've all done it. Haven't you ever spent a night in a drunk tank, Erin?
No.
Ugh.
A drunk tank?
Yeah, a drunk tank. There's no bed in there.
What's a drunk tank?
Like when you go when you get arrested for drunk disorderly conduct.
I've never been arrested, so.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe I should stop talking about this. But anyway, that whole thing I think was just setting up that they have full control over you. They're going to break your spirit. You don't ever step out of line. Luke, when he first gets there, he's doing fine.
Yeah, he's fine with it.
Yeah. But
he seems like he's used to working outside and in the heat, and he was just okay, this is what I have to do. And at the beginning, he was very quiet. He didn't talk. He just kind of trudged along.
Yes, they set him up as a very resilient person.
Yeah.
Right. And then one day they're working out on the road, and a nice lady, nice blonde woman comes out to wash a car.
Okay, so in this movie, there are 2 women in it.
Yes.
The first one you see is them lusting over this woman. And everyone's talking about Lucille. And
well, it's mostly George Kennedy.
Yeah, but even after when they went back to the the prison, like he's like, oh, like y'all stop thinking about my Lucille, and like he's like, I guess getting everyone hard, and I just wanted some gay guy being like, I don't know, I thought it would be like weird, like if this gay guy was like, ew, gross, Lucille, get away from me, Lucille.
Like Shore Leave from Venture Brothers.
Yeah, there had to have been gay guys in this prison.
Oh, of course. I mean, there was gay people everywhere back then. You couldn't be out. Man, that would be pretty funny. He's all excited about this woman he saw, and then Luke makes fun of him.
Yeah.
Really needles him pretty good. And so he's like, you and me tomorrow, we're going to duke it out.
Yeah.
And they do. And you remember what happened?
Yeah, is George?
George Kennedy.
What's his character's name?
His character's name, he had a nickname. It was Dragline.
Okay. But they fought, and Luke never gave up. Like, and so it kind of was like, he kept being like, stay down. Everyone kept saying stay down, but he kept getting back up. And so, the Dragline, he was just like, whatever, and he walks away. And so I guess Luke wins in a way.
Yeah.
But doesn't actually win.
Yeah, Luke knew he couldn't win the fight.
Yeah.
So he's like, if I can get this dude to walk away before killing me, essentially, that I kind of win in a weird way. I earn the respect of others.
Yeah, I think he kind of, he's lived his life and he's done lots of stuff. So he's kind of like, well, I mean, if he kills me, okay. But if he doesn't, I get some respect.
Right.
Which is a lose-win, I guess.
Yeah, a lose-win. It's like that meme.
Well, I guess for him, it may be a win-win.
No.
Depending on his mental.
What it's like? It's like that meme, task failed successfully.
Exactly. That's exactly what that's like.
Yeah. So then it cuts to them. They're inside their barracks or whatever.
Yeah, and they're playing cards.
Yeah, which is like, it's a wooden, big, long room.
Yeah.
And you have these windows that you fold open because this is before air conditioning. So it's a very open setting.
Yeah.
Right?
And easy to leave.
So they're in there playing cards, and it's getting pretty heated, and Luke's got a good hand. Right.
Well,
and then
everyone thinks he has a good hand, but then he shows it and he has a garbage hand.
Yeah.
So they're just like, oh, okay, well, I have to fold because he won't fold. And so Luke finally puts his cards down and he was like, everyone was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. And
He got us.
George Kennedy's like, he's got a handful of nothing. And that's when George Kennedy actually earned some respect for him. And he says he's just like that fight we had outside. He had nothing, but he just kept going. You know, so.
Something that I thought was so cute was something that they
cute?
said. It was so cute. Whenever they were playing the cards, someone kept saying, kick him back a book.
Kick him back a book.
Kick him back a book. But like with a real country accent, so it was like, kick him back a book.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun accents in this movie.
The accents are hard to understand sometimes, but that's realistic for the South. Like I mean, we're from the South, and I feel like I'm from even more South than you a little bit because you're from Houston.
Yeah,
and I'm from an actual country town.
The accents I heard growing up were from other countries. The accents you heard growing up were from like rural Texas and Louisiana.
So everybody talks like this, and I'm really good with this accent. I can do this all day long.
Yeah, you had an accent when I first met you.
Yes, I did. But everyone is talking with this like thick country accent, but it's not discernible for like, it's not Georgian, but it's also not Louisiana.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to decipher where they're from. Maybe Oklahoma, because it's not as like, it's country, but it's not like a regional kind of country. It's like,
I don't know. They might have just been using their real voices. I don't even know.
Maybe.
I don't know what George Kennedy sounded like
It was
in real
also
life.
a while back, so the accents could have changed from
for
when
sure.
because I'm much younger.
But I also feel like, I mean, this is 1967.
Yeah.
If you watch older movies, there's people who are just like what's his name? Cary Grant. He's just, I'm Cary Grant.
Okay.
And Kaplan's got dandruff. And he's supposed to be like an American. It's like, people didn't change. Like now people try to change their accents. Like back in the day, people were like, no, this is how I talk.
Yeah. But it was, I just love that little kick him back a book.
Kick him back a book. So then Luke earns respect from Dragline.
Yeah.
And then one day they're working on the road and they've got this big, they got to like asphalt this whole road.
Yeah, they have to. Well, I mean, some other stuff happens before this, but like work wise.
You have something in your notes? Like, I'm trying to remember.
Well, because like right after that, the next scene is him talking to his mom, which I thought was his sister because she looks very young.
Oh, yeah.
She's also like, he calls her by her first name. He doesn't call his mom by mom. He doesn't call her mom.
That happened right after that? Okay.
Because I was like, that stuck out to me so much because like good old country boys call their mama mama. And he was not doing that. And so I was like, he must not have a very close relationship with his mom, even though she says that he was her favorite. Because she says that at one point, like, I'm going to give my house and all of my property to the younger brother because I treated you better.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And so I was like, okay, they had a closer relationship, but it still wasn't close because he calls her by her first name.
Yeah.
Which
Well, they set up, I think the reason that she's young is just because she had kids young. And they don't set up, like, she was in the back of a truck.
Yeah, so you can tell she was sick. But
yeah. But we're led to believe that they didn't have any money. He had an interesting childhood. He had a rough childhood.
Yeah.
And his dad took off before he really got to know him. Mm-hmm. So his mother and him have a different kind of relationship.
Yeah. Another reason I thought it was his sister was because later on, or just like in that same scene, but at the end of it, there's this little boy and he's like, he calls him Uncle Luke. And so it's his nephew. And I was like, oh, maybe that's her son. But no. It's very confusing in that moment because I was like, oh, like her nephew is with her. Did this little kid drive her there? Because there's no other adults you see. It's just this little kid and the older the mother. And so that's why I thought she was his sister when that boy was like, oh, Uncle Luke.
Yeah. Well, do you think it's like a Ted Bundy situation? To where, like, Ted Bundy, he thought when he was growing up that his mother was his sister. Oh. Because she had him so young that they just told him, like, his grandparents were his parents.
Maybe.
He didn't find out for years.
Possible.
Yeah. Possibility. That's one of the great things about this movie. It leaves you to, like, kind of walk your own, do some work for the movie.
Yeah.
And I mean that in a good way.
Yes.
Sometimes when people say you're doing work for the movie, they mean that like you have to fill in the plot holes.
Yeah. But it's not plot holes. It is purposeful. And
yes.
There's reasons behind it.
Yes. And it's good. It's really good. I was reading online that scene was like 8 pages in the script. And they're like, this is going to take forever to shoot. But Paul Newman and I think her name was Joe. Why did I close that page? Joe something. It's the only other woman I can find it. Joe Van Fleet. They were both stage trained actors in theater. You know, They started out in the theater.
Just like me.
Yeah, just like you. And so they're really good with dialogue scenes, and they just nailed it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They did 8 pages?
Yeah, they did 8 pages, and they barely ever had to call.
They didn't cut anything?
Well, they cut, of course, because you have to change angles and stuff. But
No, I'm saying like they didn't cut the script at all.
No, I don't think they cut the script.
Section.
It didn't say whether but they said like they just handled it, and they just nailed it down. No trouble at all. Yeah.
But then the next scene, someone faints and they say they bear clawed.
Yeah, I remember the bear claw.
I've never heard that before.
Know.
But then they go to do the road.
Okay.
So they're, I guess they're doing tar. They're putting tar on the road and then covering it with like dirt?
Well, it's just asphalt. Asphalt, I think, is a mixture of tar and pebbles. Not pebbles. What do you call that? Gravel. I think that's what it is.
What were they shoveling on it?
I think dirt to make it dry or something.
Like sand?
I don't know.
Look like pretty sand.
No.
These are pretty.
I work on the trucks that drive on the road.
But they were shoveling, and it was taking a long time. And so I don't know who I know Luke initiated it, but I don't know what he said to like get them to start like.
Well, he's more of a lead, like a locker room leader, lead by example.
Yeah.
I
guess he doesn't say anything
because he's not a big talker as they set up. So they get it done. Mm-hmm. But then he gets noticed by what is that guy's name? They call him. He's got the mirrored sunglasses.
The man with no eyes.
Yes, they call it the man with no eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get the attention of that guy.
But they seem mad about it. Like they finished the road early. That's awesome.
Yeah, because they can see that they're losing control of the group because this guy is like now showing up as a leader. Right?
I guess.
Which is why they set up early. Well, that's why they put that guy in the box in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Partly for him, but also to make an example, like, you were under our control at all times. They don't want them to get the road done. They want them to be worn out from work. You know, like, how much do you know about cults?
A fair amount, I guess.
A fair amount. Well, one of the things you'll notice with every cult is they are completely overworked.
Yeah.
So they have no time to think for themselves or think about escaping or moving on to something different.
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing in this prison. They don't want them having free time. If they have free time, they can think about escaping.
That makes sense. But I mean, also they can think about escaping while they're working.
Yeah.
But I get what you mean.
Exactly. Yes. But it further develops Luke's character in an interesting way because you think this guy is just like a turd floating down the river. He doesn't care, you know? He just takes life, lets life take him wherever he wants to go. He cuts the head off parking meters. Mm-hmm. So why would he want to even do this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he does not do well with authority. And this is his way of being like, hey, you think you have control over me, but you don't. That's my opinion.
Good one.
Thanks.
That's what I think too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't want to say what I think first. I want you to say it.
And then he eats the eggs. I really, this scene is kind of like, what is the point of this scene? I know it's a fun scene, him eating all these eggs, and it's him trying to prove. But he like,
it's the cat and mouse thing. Like he's just sitting there and he hears all these guys like talking and saying, and all of a sudden he just goes, I could eat 50 eggs. Yeah. And he's just fucking with them.
Well, at one point, I feel like they were talking about like, oh, like Luke can eat a bunch of food. Like, cause there was someone that was like not eating all of their food or something. And then that was him saying like, oh, well, Luke has a I don't know, some type of stomach where he can eat all he wants. Okay. And then Luke's like, I guess they say something along the lines of like, oh, like how many eggs can you eat? And he goes, 50. In an hour.
Yeah. Well, now this is I just always thought of it as like he's just toying with these guys.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And trying to pass his time in prison by fucking with people, essentially. Mm-hmm.
I definitely think that's what goes on in his head throughout the time in prison. Like he's just like, well, I'm going to be here. I'm going to piss a couple people off because it's funny. And then whatever happens with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then they draw it out and like there's a whole training sequence and everybody's betting on it to the point where they've got literally every dollar in the camp riding on him winning. Mm-hmm. And then it comes to the day and then everybody's gathered around and he eats the 50 eggs. Yeah. Did you notice, I wanted to say it while we were watching it, but did you notice the symbolism at the end of that scene? like right after he's done eating 50 eggs,
Well, he's
everybody
left on the
leaves.
table, and he just lays there and smiles, and everyone leaves.
But his arms are straight out,
Mm-hmm.
and his legs and his feet are crossed over one another,
Oh,
like Christ on the cross.
like a sacrifice.
Yeah. So I think at this part in the movie, he becomes sort of a martyr.
Martyr?
Yes, thank you.
Mater.
Get that-
He's a tomato.
Hey man, get me them stewed maters over there. Which could have been a line from this movie.
Who knows?
Anyway,
Well, I mean, we know
when
'cause
when
we
I
watched
lived in Georgia, I heard somebody say stewed maters,
Yeah.
but it made me laugh. But anyway,
But a martyr.
yeah, I think at that point he becomes a martyr for the people in this prison,
Yeah.
right? Because after that they're just always talking about him and how
Mm-hmm.
great he is and all this stuff. And then I don't remember.
And they even are like, well, I'll get caught so you can escape. Because there's someone that literally,
yeah, his first escape attempt.
his first escape attempt, there's someone that is like, okay, I'm going to go out after you. So they go after me so you can get away. Mm-hmm. But like before that happens, like there's a turning point right after the eggs. Immediately after the eggs, he finds out his mom died.
Yes.
And that's a moment of turning for him because previously, before his mom died, it was all about trying to fuck with people. But now it's more personal.
Yeah, now he
Since
has
his
a
mom
reason
died.
to escape. And I think the reason they tell you he's got 2 years is just so you can see how crazy he's gone, that he's like, I can't wait 2
Yeah.
years. I got to get out of here.
Well, and also like it doesn't tell you how long it's been. So it could be a month. It could be 4 months. It could be 18 months.
I definitely don't think it was more than a year.
Okay. I mean,
Just to be conservative about it, I don't think it was a long time. I don't think he had like just a couple months left.
okay. Because it seems like, because it would make it more like crazy if he had such a short amount of time left. Because like just wait 2 more months or 3 or 6 more months and you'll get to go see your mom's grave. Like 6 months is not that long in the long run.
Yeah. But also you notice the warden puts him in the box when they find out.
Yes. I took that note. I was like, why did they put him in the box when his mom died? And I get they didn't want him to run away, but they also wanted to say, hey,
Again, about the control
yeah,
thing.
you're in our control. Like, you're not going to be able to run away. Mm-hmm. Which he doesn't until later.
Yeah. But he does run away, and he does get caught pretty quick.
As soon as he like gets out of the box and comes back, it's almost like a night or two later, he runs away.
Yeah.
And the first time he runs away, he they're having like some type of party or something. It seemed like, because like
It was like 4th of July, I thought.
I think so, yeah. And so like there's like all this noise going on, so he's sawing away by his bunk while everyone's partying it up. And so he cuts this hole finally, and they say, okay, it's time to get to bed. So everybody starts getting in bed, and he starts going through the lights, I think. And then someone has some like a message or something to say.
No, the George Kennedy's character starts reading smut to the guy who's
Well,
supposed
he
to.
can't read, so he asks someone to read smut to him, I think.
No, but they read it to the guy who runs the guard who runs the barracks or whatever.
Okay.
So that he's not looking and doing his head count.
Yeah.
While Luke is trying to escape.
Yeah. So Luke and this other guy, like literally, he's like, okay, we're gonna go. Luke goes underneath the hole while they're talking about smut, and then the other guy like goes up to George, and then he goes out the hole too, and then you see them catch the one guy on the fence. The dogs go after him, but then Luke makes it out, and it seems like he runs for at least a day, around like almost a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was several hours, and he runs a dog dead.
Yeah, the dog runs himself to death. Was that the same escape?
No, it was the second one actually.
This whole escape here partly makes me think that he was just trying to get back at the warden for throwing him in the box because he avoided the box the whole time until.
Yeah.
And then the other part was like he knew he'd get caught. He just wanted to see what would happen when they sent him out.
Yeah.
So like they sent the dogs after him, and then in his next escape, he goes, "Okay, well these dogs are going to come after me. So how am I going to fool
How am
them?
I going to avoid the dogs?"
Yeah.
And something else that just popped in my head was the whole time he was in this box, like the whole thing is about like working. They didn't have him working that whole time. He was just in the box all day, all night. He had so much time to plan what he was going to do.
Yeah.
And so that was stupid on the prison guard people's. They really messed up by letting him just sit in this box for several days because he had plenty of time to be like, okay, well, they're going to put me in this box when I haven't done anything wrong. Okay, well, I'm going to figure out how to escape. And so he sat there and thought, what is he going to do to escape? And he did.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I mean, if he was working, his mind wouldn't have been on escaping.
Uh-huh.
But I think them putting him in the box for that long, it fucked with his head, and he was like, "I gotta get out of here. I'm gonna get out of here."
Yeah. And then I like his second attempt a lot because a little bit of the Luke comes back. Like he's not so upset anymore, but he still wants to escape. And he runs in those two little black boys.
Yeah.
On their farm.
And then they get the axe to come like cut the.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll show you how to cut it, and they're like, oh, I get to use an axe.
No, he totally messes with that one
Oh, yeah.
kid, and the kid's like, I could swing an axe and break that, and he's like, I bet you can't.
Yeah.
And they just go back and forth, and his brother's like, well, just go get the axe. It was really cute, and those kids did such a great job.
Yeah.
I
And then
really enjoyed it.
Luke, when they come back with the axe, he's like, oh, I better do it. And so Luke does it and breaks it and gets away.
My dad used to try to imitate that joke on me, and he would fail. I'd be like 12 years old, and he'd be like, hey, Joe, you want to drive the car? And he would hold the keys out, and I'd go to grab them, and he'd take them away and be like, you better let me handle that. You can see my dad doing something
Oh,
like that.
absolutely.
Like I said, he loved this movie. It might be his favorite movie, but he loves it. Yeah, so he gets hauled back in again.
Well, so that the second time is when he runs the dogs to death. But I think the reason he ran them to death, quote unquote, is because he jumped off of a bridge into some water, and I'm guessing that the dog jumped after him. To follow the trail, and he fell to his death.
No, in that time, he tells the boys to go get pepper, and he spreads pepper around in that area where he chopped the axe off. So when the dogs ran through there, it made him sneeze, and he tells the boys to go look through the window because it's going to be real funny.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, you really internalize this movie. I'm pretty surprised. You usually forget movies like right after we watch them. But yeah, my memory of it's a little shaky. I get the escape attempts, convoluted in my head.
I mean, I'm kind of mixed up a little bit, but I'm pretty sure the second one is when he goes off the bridge and is running. He's gone for days.
His second attempt,
he's gone for days. Because the first one, he was only gone for a couple hours or several hours.
Is that the one where they said the cop caught him in the car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he sent a magazine.
No, that was the second one where he was gone for like weeks or something.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
The second one, he was gone for a long time.
Okay, yeah.
And he sent them a magazine with that he photoshopped. Whenever he was like, it's a fake, and they were like, how is this a fake? And it's like, I don't know how it is a fake. Did you have Photoshop or something?
Well, he said he had somebody made up for him.
Who's this guy that's just making stuff up like that? It was odd. It was odd.
It's just some guy with a razor blade cutting the heads out
and then making copies of it.
I like the idea
with a printer.
like when you see a Photoshop picture and at first you're like, what the fuck? And then you look at it more closely and you're like, oh, I can see all the things. Like, I can just imagine these dumb prisoners. They want to believe it so bad that he got away that they're like, you see the heads don't match the body sizes and like all that crap. And they're still like, no, Luke, it's him.
It's him.
So then he comes back. They haul him back in, and they're like, "Luke, you got away with it." And he's like, "No, I didn't." And he gets mad, and he's like, "Stop living off of me," and all that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a really great moment that Paul Newman had. I really liked it.
There was also one point where he's like running through a farm in it, and he runs past some pigs. And I was like, just put your shirt on the pigs and like let them go, because it'll at least like get one of the dogs away.
No, that's a good point. Yeah. I was like, what? So the prison people would mistake him a pig for him? Like,
Yeah. The dogs would.
They would haul that pig back.
Yeah. Be like, you're going to jail, piggy. What is it whenever you like help a convict? You
aiding and abetting?
Aiding and abetting a convict.
That's not Luke. That's a pig. Yeah, and then with that time they haul him back in, they make him dig a ditch.
Yeah, several times. So it's not just one time. He
did
digs
that
the
thing.
Ditch. He says, "Why is your dirt in the warden's ditch?" And he starts digging it, and then the warden comes up. He's like, "What'd you do? Why'd you dig this big old hole right here? Put this dirt back inside." So he puts it all back, and they come up and be like, "Why is your dirt still in the hole?" And so he digs it back up.
This is a really important scene because they've established that like they have control over these guys, but in this one scene, it's literally endless. Mm-hmm. He could dig himself
to death,
essentially, and all the warden and all their men, nothing's going to change for them.
Yeah,
they're just going to have to fill out a little bit of paperwork probably. Mm-hmm. So he's just broken at that point.
Yeah,
right, and even the guys in the prison, like he's such a martyr to them. After like, oh no, you played them. Yeah. Like when you freaked out and you broke down, you were playing them, and he wasn't. He had really lost. He had lost a battle at that point.
Oh, I think he realized he lost the battle, but he still wasn't going to give up because literally the next day, he escapes again.
Yeah, that's right.
And everyone thought, because this is what I saw. Or what I remember is him coming, like he was like, I'll do whatever you say. I'll do whatever you say. But he wasn't really doing that. He like grabs them. He goes inside and everyone's like, how could you do this? Like, you're broken. And they like leave him like alone. All of the people in the prison are like, how could you just give in to them?
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after he gives in, like the next day, he's like, I'll do whatever you need. And so he does something to somehow get the warden. Like he's like literally chasing after things for the warden. Or no, the man with no eyes. He like gets his gun for him. Also, who calls for him to get his gun? Because that guy never talks.
Oh, I don't know. Well, I want to go back to something. After one of his escape attempts, they serve everybody chow, I guess. Mm-hmm. And everybody's coming by and taking a spoonful of his rice.
Yeah, because like they gave him way extra. Uh-huh. And they're like, you have to sit here and eat all of it. And he was like, oh, fuck. So I guess he starts eating, but then everyone else comes by and like starts taking a spoonful. Right.
Why do you think, like, do you think that was symbolism for something?
Oh, yeah. That was before he started digging the ditch.
Yeah, it was. That's why I said I wanted to go back to it.
Yeah.
I've never been able to, I've always wondered, like, what's the symbolism of this? Are they like... Oh,
it's showing unity.
Is it showing unity, or is it like...
He's the leader of this group. Even, like, George is following him. Like, he's not following him in the way of, like, let me follow your lead. But George has a hold on all of these people. They love him. And I don't think that Luke realizes how much all of these men love him. But then when he breaks down after the ditch and they're like, oh, no, we can't have anything to do with you. He was like, oh, yeah, you'll see. I'm going to get you back. Because he knows his guys are on his side. So him like really breaking down and for all those people to go away, make the warden and all of those prison people, like I don't know what the officers, it makes them say, oh, they don't follow him anymore. We've got them back in control when they don't.
Ah. Okay, so you do think that he...
Oh, he did that all on purpose.
Okay. Because I always thought that they
he's
really
a very
did.
smart guy.
Well, yeah, he's smart, but at this point in the movie, I'm thinking, like, all he's thinking about is escaping. That makes sense that he would have to be like, oh, well, I have to break in order for them to make me stop digging the ditch.
Yeah.
So that I can form my next plan. I guess I've been overthinking it all these years. But I always thought, like, when they were taking the rice off his plate,
Yeah.
it was like either they were taking a piece of themselves back, stop believing in him so much, or it was like communal, like the body of Christ. I see a lot of Christ allegory in this, and that's weird.
I could see the martyr kind of thing, like, oh, you give this to our leader, like, well, I'm going to take a part of it too.
Yeah,
and like that's like the whole thing. Like they are showing unity in that they are like he is the head honcho there.
Yeah, but also his name is Luke, which is a book in the Bible, and his number is 37, which I believe is a reference to like Luke 137 or something like that.
Do you know what that is?
No, I don't know what that is.
Goggle it?
No, I don't want to Google it. I just want to live in my Christ allegory. It might ruin it for me, Erin. But I know that, like, the filmmakers did that on purpose. I know that. But my whole life, all I can see in it is just this weird Christ allegory. Mm-hmm. And Luke is this anti-hero. Like, this is, like now when people say anti-hero, it's like, oh, the guy smokes cigarette, but he's a good cop, right? Where this is like, no, this guy's like kind of a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. But people are willing to follow him,
Yeah.
And he is the hero of this movie. But like that's more of a true anti-hero in my opinion, which is it like saying the movie saying, is Jesus an anti-hero?
For some people it is.
You think so?
Yeah.
But I've just never been able to watch this movie and not see some sort of Christ allegory in it. Am I using allegory correctly, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. I think it could be. I'd have to watch it again to be like, oh yeah, I can see all of the Christ things. Because like whenever you point them out, I'm like, oh yeah, that is. But it is very communal to like be like, oh, but I know that they put that all on him, and then they start scooping it up to be like, it's helping him out because they're for him. They're with him. He is the leader, which I mean is very Christ-like to his disciples.
Yeah.
Oh, something I wrote down was whenever he like escapes for the second time, just let him go. I mean, like he did the simplest thing, but also like he killed a dog unintentionally. Everyone is like, we have to find this guy. He's evaded them for weeks. Just fucking let it go. That's what I just kept thinking, like, just let him go. Like, let him live his life.
No, it's a war of wills at this point.
Oh, absolutely. But whenever it was happening, I was just like, just let him go.
Well, before the last escape attempt, they say, like, you do it again, we're just going to kill you.
Yeah.
So when he leaves, he's already made his peace that they're going to kill him.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he doesn't even want to be alive at that point, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, because he doesn't even try to run. He gets to the church, he tries talking to God, and then George Kennedy's like, well, maybe we were a little overzealous. Maybe we should just go back.
Yeah.
And then the man with no eyes shows up and just shoots him. He just leans out and he shoots him. And then George Kennedy attacks the man with no eyes, knocks his glasses off.
And then they run over them.
Yeah.
In the car. On the way to the hospital. Mm-hmm. Because they weren't going to take him to the hospital. They were saying like, oh, no, he has to go back to the prison. And they're like, he won't survive.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. But they didn't want him to survive. So
they didn't want him to.
And then I think the end of the movie is George Kennedy telling a group of prisoners his whole story about Luke.
Yeah.
So at that point, he's become a full Jesus Christ figure because Jesus Christ died at 30?
33, I think.
33? So that's another part of
Maybe
the
it was
Christ outward.
37. I don't know. It was in his 30s, I know that.
Jesus is still alive. He's hanging out with Elvis Presley and Tupac, man. They're living it up, dude.
In Hawaii.
Yeah, those Hawaiians, they keep their mouth shut, man. They don't like the mainlanders. But anyway, this is a great movie, 1967. Erin, I want to get your no bullshit assessment.
Well, before we do the no bullshit assessment, I need to tell you my theory on why he did everything he did.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay. It may change as I talk about it because I haven't spoke about it. But my theory is he left the army. He wasn't living with his mom. We have no clue where he was living. Maybe he was even homeless. I think it's possible that he cut those meters down because, I mean, the worst thing that could happen is he goes to jail and he has a place to sleep. So when he goes to this jail, everything's fine because he's living somewhere. He's at peace living in a space that he can sleep, in a place that he can lay his head down, where he gets food. Whereas in his life, he may not have been getting those things. So the means to getting shelter, food, those very important resources was to deface property. And then once he gets there, he realizes like, oh, like there's some really great guys here. I can live through this for 2 years. Maybe after 2 years, I think one of the reasons that he started actually escaping was to keep his stay longer. The first time he escapes, he's like, oh, like I got a reason to escape because my mom. So he was like, okay, well, let me escape and then I'll get to stay longer. I get a place to sleep longer. But then instead of him being like, oh, hold on. I still do feel like he wasn't living anywhere. He was homeless and that he didn't have means. And so the reason he did the initial thing of cutting down those meters was to get means to live.
I think Cool Hand Luke was a quiet quitter.
What's that?
You haven't heard about quiet quitting?
No.
It's some stupid thing that's going around the internet. I don't even want to talk about it.
I know what you mean now. Like, I get it. Yeah. No, I do think he like was doing it to better himself because he didn't have anything. I know how common it is for people to not, I know it's common for people that leave the prison system to go straight back into it because they have a place to sleep. They have a place to eat. Whenever they leave prison, they don't have those things. And so it's easier just to go back to their things that they did before they got into prison and get back in. Like, I mean, they know people in prison. It sometimes might be easier than trying to live as a citizen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. People, they get caught up in the prison system for so long, and their life wasn't good before they went in. Mm-hmm. So they just kind of they become dependent on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's pretty rare. I don't think that's a real common thing. I just think that
I know it's common for people to go back into prison right after.
Yeah, people who get caught up in the system, it's like 80% of the people who have criminal charges have previous criminal charges. Like once you get caught up in it, you're just perpetually stuck in it. It's part of the way the system is just broken.
Yeah.
But it is true. You know, hey, we should get Robert on here.
Yeah.
to talk about it.
That would be interesting.
He could probably tell us a lot about it. That's my friend. He's a lawyer. Mm-hmm. He's a
defense lawyer.
Yeah, criminal defense lawyer. So he's one of the good ones. Anyway, I think Luke is just a piece of shit who floats from one thing to another. He needs some sort of stimulation, right? He didn't grow up in a stable household. Mm-hmm. That's what they set up with his mother. right? So he just goes from one thing to another. He was in the Army. He didn't excel in the Army, which is why he went in a private and came out a private. Or maybe that it was the Navy, the military.
Yeah.
It's just the military, right? And he came back out a private just like he went in. He's probably working like odd jobs here and there. He probably drinks a lot, just doing things. And then one night he's just like, you know what? I have low impulse control. I'm going to cut heads off of parking meters. And then he goes to jail and he's like, whatever. He's just some guy who adapts to the situation. He adapted to the prison situation. And then his mother dies. He's like, I don't want to be in prison anymore. I want to make the most of whatever little time I have left. You know, because I think that's another part of it. His mother wasn't that old
She wasn't.
when she died. So, yeah, he wants to go to the funeral, but also he doesn't want to live his life locked in a cage.
Yeah.
He wants to be out there being a piece of shit. Because he essentially is. Like, he's just some guy. And, like, maybe you work construction, and he's there on the construction crew for a few months, and you like him. You go out and you have beers with him, and then one day he doesn't show up, and you call his phone, and his phone's off. Disconnected. Like somebody else.
He's moved on to something else.
He's moved on to something else.
He's tired of doing that. Goes to the next thing.
Yeah.
That sounds like some people I know.
Yeah. Who, me?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, someone else. But
No,
I
trust
do
me,
feel
though.
I do understand that. Like I know people that are like that.
Yeah.
That jump around to job because they feel unfulfilled, but they're not making the most of that time in there.
And if we had not gotten married and had a kid, I would probably be doing that right now. But I would be working in like film and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just going from job to job and moving around, not having a care in the world.
Yeah.
And I definitely wouldn't be breaking the law. But I have that sort of, that attitude, that laissez-faire attitude about things. But then when I got a family, I was like, no, I got to take care of my family and I have to have a career and a steady job.
Yeah.
Before that, like before I met you, I would bounce around. Like I worked at Blockbuster for 2 years and I joined the Army for 5 years and I got out, I went to college and I was like, okay, I'm going to do freelance work after that.
Yeah.
I was just moving around. I was pretty aimless.
Same.
Yeah, but I mean, you were only 21. I was
Yeah.
like 30.
Yeah.
And I still had no career, but I wasn't a piece of shit like he was.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't fuck with people. I didn't vandalize people's property and stuff. I paid my bills and I went to work. If I quit a job, I put in my 2 weeks notice. He's not the type of guy who does all that stuff.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion on the whole thing.
I can
So-
see it.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to?
No, I mean, whenever I first saw it, I kind of forgot some of my reasonings behind this. Like he did this to get his needs met. I kind of forgot my reasoning behind some of the other stuff. So I do still feel like he did it because he was like, well, I have nothing else going for me. Might as well. I don't. And I get what you mean. Like he was just like, well, whatever. I'm gonna deflate face property because I'm an asshole, which can totally be part of that too. Like he's like, well, I'm gonna cut these down. Whatever happens, happens. And what happens was he got some of his needs met. I could see it both ways. Him doing it on purpose and him doing it just because he's a dick. So.
Well, he says when he goes to prison, they asked him why he did it, and he said he was settling some scores.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
So it's just sort of like, but also like it's interesting that they have the card metaphor, because when you play cards, you don't want people to know what you're thinking, and you don't want to have any tells and stuff. The character is really good, and Paul Newman plays him in such a way that it's like he never really lets on what he wants or what he's thinking. And it makes it really good. And we can have such different interpretations of his character.
Yes.
And neither one of them is wrong.
And neither one of them is right.
Neither one of them is right. I'm definitely not saying I'm right. I'm just saying
me either.
My life experience leads me to believe that that's what I see in him. And your life experience tells you what you saw.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what's so great about movies like this.
Yeah.
I could talk about movies. I love these types of movies.
Oh, same.
We won't be able to do it on this show because we've both seen it, but One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Love that movie. But you showed it to me, and I think you showing me that movie and us talking about it was one of the reasons that I wanted to do this podcast, was because it's an amazing movie, and watching that movie and the story of all of it, it's also a play.
Erin just dropped her pen, everybody.
Sorry, guys. But it's also a play. And so watching that movie and us talking about it was like so much fun, because there's so much like mental capacity taken over by the movie versus like just blindly watching a movie, which I really appreciate. Mm-hmm. Like I love watching a movie and having to delve deep inside it.
Yes, me too.
Deep inside of it.
Yeah, that's the fun part of it. You know, I love movies that are just like, they'll hit you in the face with it if it's got a fun story and some fun characters and some good acting. But I really love the stuff where you can just chat about it too and dive deep into the characters and all that. All right, so we've gone through it. Erin, I want to get your no BS. BS stands for bullshit. No BS assessment. What did you think of this movie?
I thought this was a really fun movie to watch. I really enjoyed this movie. I would absolutely recommend this movie to people that have not seen it. No matter what type of person they are, if they don't like older movies, if they don't like country type movies, this is a phenomenal movie. This is relatable to everyone in some type of way. And it's so open-ended that you can interpret it to what you want it to be, or what your mind wants it to be, which I really enjoyed. If you like cerebral movies, this is a really great one for you. The acting was really great in it. Maybe they were familiar with that type of the type of characters that they were playing, but maybe not. They were just the acting was really great. I'm still confused by the warden, what he kind of represents. Or not the warden, the man with no glasses. I know he's like blind authority, like blind.
He never fit into my Christ allegory at all. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Whenever you said that, I was like, what does he represent? What could he represent? What could he represent? So, but I really enjoyed the movie, and I would watch it again.
Yeah, me too. I'd watch it for like the 8th time or however many times it is. My dad would be so happy if he heard this.
Oh, yeah.
Because like I said, he loves the movie. Yeah, I really liked it. Like, really, this last time we watched it, the only thing I had to say was like, why are there so many white guys in this prison that all look the same?
Oh, yeah. They do.
They
all
could
look
have,
very similar.
they're wearing the same uniforms. You could have got a little bit of
diversity.
Yeah, a little bit of diversity in there. And I know that's a loaded gun these days, talking about diversity in movies. A lot of people don't like it. People are mad about Lord of the Rings having black people in it.
Oh my God. Like, please diversify your movies. I want to see more people. I don't want to just see white people all the time.
Yes.
As a white person.
We are both white people, and we're saying we don't just want to see white people all the time. And we believe representation matters.
Oh, absolutely.
So get on it, Hollywood. Pump those movies full of black people, Latinos, Asian. We want to see it. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, this has been You Haven't Seen It? All right, guys. So we're going to play a little game now. It's called Casting Couch. And it's where I sit on the couch with my wife and try to seduce her.
Ooh. I'm into it.
I don't think this is going to be that hard. But no, actually, we're going to...
Or it will be.
We're going to cast a movie. And Erin, as we all know, loves movies, watches tons of them, knows the name of every actor.
No, I don't. I don't even know what the...
No. Who played Wolverine in all those X-Men movies?
Hugh Jackman, because I freaking love Hugh Jackman.
Why do you love Hugh Jackman?
Because he's handsome.
And he's a theater guy.
Yeah, he's a theater
He's
guy.
a big-time theater guy. Yeah.
He was on Broadway recently in Music Man. I think he might even still be on.
He's
with Sutton Foster. I want to see it.
He's always doing tons of theater. Like, that's his first love.
Yeah.
He did the movies for the money.
And he's my first love.
Wow, I'm done with this fucking podcast. Okay, so I'm going to shove that way down. Just wrap it up, tie it up with a nice little bow,
You're
and leave it
still on
right
my
down.
mind, Hugh Jackman.
And we're going to recast
Okay.
the first X-Men movie, okay? Now, I know you told me you watched X-Men, the animated series, when you were a kid.
I did. Well, we had a VHS tape of like 3 or 4 episodes. That was
Okay.
it. It
And
wasn't
you just
like a
watched them
bunch.
on a loop?
it was only 3. It was the one where Jubilee was there.
That was the very first episode.
It was the first 3 episodes, I think.
Okay.
I know that Beast comes out and he's like, they go to this place and he's like climbing on like bars across so that he doesn't get like laser beamed.
Ah, yeah. Man, I love the X-Men. I used to read those comics when I was a kid.
Never read them, but I still love X-Men. I will watch X-Men.
Oh, okay. I was not a fan of the animated series because it was like declawed compared to the comic books.
Oh, well, like I do not like superhero movies. Like I'm not a big Marvel or DC fan, like superhero wise, but I will watch X-Men till I die.
She hasn't seen all the X-Men movies.
I don't think I have.
Okay, so here we are. We're going to recast the very first one. Now, I think you told me Rogue was your favorite character?
Yes, she is.
I love the character of Rogue. She's great.
Mm-hmm.
But Anna Paquin Painter in the first one.
Anna Paquin Painter.
Anna Paquin Painter in the first movie. And I don't think Anna Paquin is that good.
No, I didn't
I'm
like
not a
her
fan.
for that role.
I don't think that she's that strong of an actor.
No.
But who would you want Rogue to be played by?
Reese Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon. Elle
Just the
Woods
country-
herself.
Alex! No, just because she has a country accent. Because Rogue has a country accent.
Yeah, she's
Southern.
she's from Louisiana or
I think so.
or Georgia. I can't remember. Yes, but she's a
from the
southern
South.
she's a Southern belle in the
Deep
comic
South.
book. Yes. Okay. Good. Now, Erin, you can't say Hugh Jackman. Who would you cast as Wolverine? Remember what he's like in the cartoon. He's short and gruffy and covered in hair.
I'm trying to think of actors that are short, gruffy, and covered in hair, but I can only think of the guy from The Hot Chick and what was that other movie I said earlier?
Deuce Bigelow.
Deuce
Mel Gibson.
Bigelow. Yes. What's that guy? Rob, he said.
Okay, here we go. It's on record. You would cast Rob Schneider as Wolverine. I just can't wait. Like he's hanging out in the X Mansion and people are coming up to him and being like, Professor Exarino making copies.
Wait, isn't that Pauly Shore?
No, that like one of his characters on SNL was like people would come up to the copier in his office and he would like, hey, Erin Areno making copies.
I never saw him on SNL.
Yeah, like Aaron McMack. I don't know how he did it. It was stupid. But yeah, that's what it would be. Wolverine would be that character.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Storm.
Oh God.
Now remember, we want to keep
Who was the original?
Halle Berry.
Okay.
Who I love Halle Berry. I think
she's a great actress.
She's a phenomenal actress, and we're gonna keep her. We're gonna keep her black.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She cannot be white. That's not Storm.
But I think in the comic book she was Egyptian.
Oh.
Or at least Professor X met her when she lived in Egypt.
Oh.
Okay.
I had no clue.
Okay. I think you X-Men fans come after me. I don't care.
I can't think of.
She's really mulling it over. She doesn't know actors that well, so
No, I don't.
don't give her too hard of a time.
I'm trying to think of some movies that I've seen. There's been like really great black actresses. I mean, there are some. There's so many, but I can't think of a movie that I can... Because the only thing that keeps popping up in my head is like Beyonce was Nala in Lion King animated movie, which was stupid. And she's been in movies, but I keep thinking of her, but I'm like, no, just because she has long hair. I was going to say the first grade teacher from Abbott Elementary, but that's not a good fit.
The first grade teacher from Abbott Elementary?
It's like, it's just like Q or K.
Quinta Brunson?
Quinta.
Okay, that's it. That's who it is.
Okay, that's who it is.
She's good. She's a comedian.
She is a comedian.
Should we,
Almost all of these are comedians.
You really like comedy a lot,
I do
so
love
it's fitting.
comedy.
Maybe this new X-Men movie will be a parody.
Wyman.
Wyman?
Instead of X.
I don't get it.
XY.
Oh, the
Z-Men.
Z-Men. Are they an A-Men?
No, they're a Z-Men.
Okay, so next is Jean Grey. Who are you going to have as Jean Grey? She was a redheaded member of the X-Men?
No, I know Jean Grey. I would have to say Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman. Now, I mean, she's kind of old now.
And?
She's working steady for AMC.
Oh, she is.
So.
She's beautiful still.
You're right, she is.
Or Isla Fish. No, she's also a comedian. Yeah, I mean, they're all comedians.
Oh, I would go with Bryce Dallas Howard.
I don't know who that is.
She was in the Jurassic World movies. She's a redheaded woman in Jurassic World. She's Ron Howard's daughter. Ron Howard is that? She doesn't know who Ron Howard is. Okay, moving on. Okay, so Professor X. Now, I would say let's put somebody who's actually wheelchair bound as the role of Professor X. Mm-hmm. But I don't know any wheelchair bound actors.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I'm thinking of somebody.
The man that played Superman.
Henry Cavill?
Yeah, he's in a wheelchair now, right?
No, that guy's dead. You're talking about Christopher Reeve, right?
The guy that got knocked off a horse?
Yeah, but he wasn't just in a wheelchair, he was paraplegic.
No, yeah. But I'm trying to think of actors that are in wheelchairs. I can't think of anyone else.
I can't either.
That's the only reason I said him was because I knew that he was in a wheelchair.
Okay.
Governor Greg Abbott. Is that mean? I don't care.
Oh, who cares? He's an asshole. So. Our lovely lover, governor of Texas.
Our horrible.
That was sarcasm. But you know who? When we were talking about, you know who I was thinking of?
Who?
NoHo Hank from Barry. Because he's bald. He's got like alopecia or something. Professor X.
Oh yeah.
Another comedian. Another comedic actor.
He would be fun.
Yeah. So I think we should name this segment
parody. I don't know.
Parody movie recasting.
Parody cast.
Okay. And then now we've got Ian McKellen. Now, this is what I'm going to say for Ian McKellen, right? He's gay. The real life actor, he's gay. So we have to... He's Magneto.
Oh.
Right? Phenomenal actor. Love Ian McKellen. But he's gay. So we have to cast his character... with
Elton John.
Elton John, not an actor, but he's going in there.
I love Elton John.
Yeah, Elton John is Magneto.
What's the Cyclops one?
Cyclops James Marsden.
Who's that guy that's not Ryan Reynolds? He's like got brown hair. He's tall and kind of nerdy looking.
He's not Ryan Reynolds. Okay,
Not
that really
Ryan.
Ryan Reynolds really narrows it down.
He's brown. He has brown hair.
Oh, narrows it down even more.
He was in that. There was like a. Oh, damn it! I don't know.
You're talking about the guy from Sonic the Hedgehog, right? He's Sonic the Hedgehog's friend.
Yes.
That's him. That's the guy from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Damn it.
We just went around in a circle. Like, who's the guy from Sonic the Hedgehog? Oh, James Marsden. Let's put him.
Oh, he's handsome.
He's a good-looking guy.
He's a good Cyclops. Damn, I don't
Yeah.
know.
The thing I really like about James Marsden is he's like leading man handsome, but he's better in a supporting role.
Oh, he's a really great actor.
But he works better in a supporting role.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah.
I love him. Every time I see him, I'm like, ew, yay.
Oh, but was that the actor you were really talking
Yeah.
about? Oh.
I can't remember what that movie is called, but it's not Isla Fisher. What's the other one that looks like Isla Fisher?
Jessica Chastain?
No.
Amy
Adams. They were in a movie together. She was like a princess or something.
Oh my God! So you really were thinking about James
I was thinking
Marsden.
about him.
Okay, I said you couldn't recast Hugh Jackman, but we're gonna let you recast James
Okay,
Marsden.
good. Because I can't think of anyone else that could play that.
But he's gonna be James Marsden as the prince in that movie. They hired the character of the prince to play Cyclops.
I've been dreaming of a true love's kiss.
All right, well, this has been Casting Couch. This has been interesting.
I would say so. Wait, isn't there like the Beast?
Oh, yeah. I didn't want to cover that many people.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
Beast isn't in the first movie.
Yeah.
We can do Iceman, Sabretooth. We did them.
Who's that guy that was he was in Balls of Fury and he's got the curly hair?
Christopher Walken?
No.
I've never seen Balls of Fury.
Oh. Really?
No.
Look up the actor that's in Balls of Fury.
Okay.
Because that's who I would want as Sabretooth. Ooh, he would be a good Wolverine. He's a comedian.
That guy?
Yeah.
Dan Fogler. I know. Okay, I know this guy. He did a lot of comedy movies.
Yeah.
He would be a good Wolverine.
He would be a good Wolverine. He's a super hairy, short guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Cool.
Well, this has been Casting Couch.